Bulletcast for life.
Get up! This is a revolution! This is our time to rise!
Ladies and gentlemen, you know the name, you know the voice, you know exactly why I'm here. Just in case if you don't, I'm a 24-year-old piece of gold, the messiah of the microphone, and the greatest sports recreational podcast in the world today. And yes, I'm still your current reigning defending Bulletcast champion, just like Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roddy Strong, and Adam Cole, baby. This title reign is hashtag forever undisputed. For life, brother. You know I never do it alone. He's my tag team partner, the Jim of my J, the Tully to my Arn, the Stevie Ray to my Booker T. He's the host of the award-winning Under the Radar host, or creator of Curveballs and Chair Shots, the first ever and 8-time Bulletcast champion, the Canadian Destroyer, Pt. Brandon Tan Guma. BT, episode 172. How you doing on this fine Thursday afternoon?
Phillip, I'm doing just fine. Technically, today is my last day of college, so as long as I don't, poo-poo the final, then I should be graduating. And then maybe I move on, do bigger, better things. But, maybe we'll still be doing this podcast. Maybe this podcast will go on and do bigger and better things.
Yes, time. It's all about time. Timing is everything in the world of wrestling. And that relates to podcasts. I think we'll be getting something eventually soon, hopefully. But Brandon, congratulations, man. I'm proud of you, man. You finished school. It was a long time coming. You had a hell of a run.
It only took me, 20 years, but damn it, finally did it.
That's a better run than most have. Some don't even get a run. So that's great. But ladies and gentlemen, I really don't want to do this. But we have to talk about it. Shad Gaspard, he was one half of Cryme Tyme in WWE. Sunday, he and his son went for a swim at Venice Beach, and there was a high tide, a current that came along, and so there's a Coast Guard, there was a lifeguard and everything, and Shad instructs them to save his son first, his 10-year-old son. So they save his son, and in the midst of that, a higher tide and current came and washed Shad away. They searched for him for a couple days, and apparently the Coast Guard called off the search. What was it? Tuesday. And yesterday, I believe his body washed up on shore, or a body matching the description of Shad. So Shad Gaspard has passed away at the age of 39 years old. Just unbelievable. When a wrestler dies, they're usually much older. They've had ailments and stuff, but you don't think about this kind of stuff happening, especially to somebody like Shad, who, as we've seen the post roll in, he was an incredible father and just an incredible human being that we've seen. Kind-hearted, had a smile on his face. Brandon, what are your thoughts about this unbelievable tragedy, and then any fond moments of watching Shad in WWE?
Obviously, sad time for the wrestling industry. Shad and his entire family, friends, prayers and thoughts go out to all of them. I mean, honestly, I remember Cryme Tyme back in the day. I kind of had fond memories as a kid. I was like, oh, they're cool. But then obviously nowadays you kind of realize that it wasn't the best gimmick to be having two black men portray on TV. But that being said, I don't really know Shad all that well. I don't really follow him or anything, but I have listened to some interviews with JTG, so he gives some insight on Shad, and he just kind of put him over so much about how nice of a person he is, and that's what everybody's saying right now in all these memorials and posts that they're talking about him, that he was just a nice dude, a good brother, and, sad times right now.
Yeah, man, you talked about the gimmick where it wasn't the best thing to have them portray, but the first ever wrestling show I went to was a Raw in the Oracle Arena, and Cryme Tyme was on that show, and I remember just enjoying it. I was young and didn't know any better, but they brought a smile to my face. And in the latter years, in the past couple years of Shad's career in the acting world, he'd been doing some skits with Clayton Thomas. He's really come on the rise in the last couple years, and a huge tribute to that was Cryme Tyme being in those skits with them. So oh my God, Shad Gaspard, may you forever rest in peace, and you keep getting that money. Yeah. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, another sad topic. It was the season finale of Dark Side of the Ring Season 2, and who better to close it out than the King of Hearts, Owen Hart. So this was about, they touched on the career of Owen, but it was mainly about the tragic death that what happened with Owen Hart. So if you don't know, May 23rd, 1999, Over the Edge pay-per-view, Owen is portraying the Blue Blazer. He's supposed to wrestle the Godfather. I think it's for the Intercontinental title. And, he was being propelled down, kind of like what Sting was doing at WCW, coming from the rafters. And something happened to where he just falls from the rafters. I think he hits the turnbuckle, and then he's just lying in the ring, and he's just dying right there. And Brandon, what are your thoughts on this episode of Dark Side of the Ring and a lot of stuff that you've learned due to the Owen Hart tragedy?
I thought that it was a very interesting episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and a very successful episode of Dark Side of the Ring. This episode pulled in the most viewers of the entire series, so we've been kind of talking about that. It's been building some momentum, and it culminated with this season finale. But honestly, I didn't learn too much from this episode. I mean, I think the big get on this episode is getting the family to talk about it, because Martha Hart is just someone who doesn't really talk about it all that much. She just kind of keeps to herself. She, does the thing with the foundation, and she doesn't really talk about it publicly all that much. So just to get her side of the story, and even getting the son side of the story, who was like 7 when it happened, so he vaguely remembers some aspects of what was going on. And one thing is, it was kind of confusing for me to kind of figure out exactly what happened. I know they don't exactly know what happened, but I mean, I'm not whatever propellant guy and knows exactly what goes on with all that stuff. But I mean, there was not a lot of new information that really came out about it. But one thing that was kind of, I don't know if it was a theory, but just people always said, was that Owen Hart was like deathly afraid of heights, and they kind of forced him to do it. He didn't want to do it, but Vince and WWE made him do that, and that's just, they didn't talk about that once, so I don't know if that's like just a rumor that wasn't true, or they just kind of cut it out and didn't really think that was important to talk about. That was one thing that I was kind of wondering why they didn't address that part of it.
Yeah, I think one of the craziest things to me was the fact that they wanted a quicker release for when he could just be ready to go for the match. So they had this latch release that was, I think it's designed for boats. I think that's what they said, and how Martha has the exact latch release from that night, which is crazy to me. And it's just, it's like 6 pounds of pressure, and it releases, and the guy was like 230, and so you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's incredibly unsafe. And how Owen's last words were "watch out, watch out." So he was making sure he didn't land on anybody. So that's even eerie within itself. That's crazy. But it looks like Martha's done incredible work with the Owen Hart Foundation. How they do stuff for single mothers, because Martha had to become a single mother. Because she lost her husband. Her children lost their father. It's just incredibly sad. And of course, she does talk about Owen in the WWE Hall of Fame, and how she doesn't want him to be celebrated by that company at all in any way. And Brandon, did you hear her on Talk Is Jericho?
Phillip, of course I didn't.
Okay. Well, this is the part that got me, and I put something about it on the Bulletcast Instagram. She talks about how WWE actually tried to sue her for breach of Owen's contract, and with inability to perform. Now, I hope that certain aspect is not true for the breach of contract. Maybe they sued her for something else. But if they sued her for her husband not being able to perform, that is one of the most disgusting, heinous things I have ever heard.
Well, obviously, if that happened, that's not a good look for WWE, but I was going to say something, completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, so it is something. But I mean, you get to see Martha, you get to see his son Oj, and I mean, the kid was 7 when his dad died, so that's That's terrible. But it does look like that they're doing fine with this whole Owen Hart Foundation, and Dark Side of the Ring and Pro Wrestling Tees and the Owen Hart Foundation have all gotten together. For the first time in 20 years, you can buy Owen Hart merchandise. There are 2 shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. They're having a big Memorial Day sale this weekend, so go cop those shirts, man. It's I think I might have to buy one. They do look very nice, but it's just unbelievable, the tragedy of Owen Hart. An incredible talent, incredible performer. Jericho talks about how he idolized Owen and wanted to be tag champs with him, during the Stampede Wrestling days. And he also really talks about if like the next year, like after Owen died, like look who comes into the business. You have, or really rises. You have Guerrero. You have Edge. There's Angle, and just a lot of guys, smaller frames but higher work rate, really getting their time to shine. Owen Hart really could have had a career resurgence, and that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, Owen Hart is one of those guys that was like, he was born maybe 10, 15 years too early, but then on the other hand, if he wasn't what he was at his time, he wouldn't have inspired so many wrestlers, including Chris Jericho, who was definitely, he drew a picture of him and Owen Hart being the Stampede Tag Team Champions. That just kind of shows what kind of adulation Chris Jericho had for Owen.
Yeah. I mean, I've been watching some Owen stuff recently, and I watched the Canadian Stampede in your house, which was probably the most famous one, and all the Harts are in there together, and it's just loud and infectious and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you learn a lot. Dark Side of the Ring, they really did a good job this season. You learn a lot about different elements of the business that you didn't really know. For some stories like a Herb Abrams or Dino Bravo, stuff I had really no knowledge about. But Owen Hart, the King of Hearts, may you forever rest in peace, my friend. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually going to talk SmackDown. We don't do that a lot here, but here we go. I briefed through it, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on certain aspects of the Raw and SmackDown, because we have to get through AEW Dynamite, and we have to preview Double or Nothing. The Bulletcast title is on the line this weekend. So, there was a Miz TV. Otis is out there. He said stuff, I'm not going to lie, kind of chuckled at him like, ah ha ha ha, okay, I see why people like him. Anyway, it leads to a tag team match. Braun and Otis defeat Miz and Morrison. They do a double caterpillar. I'm not going to lie to you, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, Braun Strowman's title reign is off to a hot start. He's feuding with puppets, and he's doing caterpillars.
Dude, look, I'm telling you, man, in his 10th opportunity at a major championship in WWE, he beat a 2-year-old man in front of no one for a championship that doesn't really even matter. Come on, man. You can't be happy that you're the Universal Champion. You can't.
Now, with Otis being the Money in the Bank champion, or whatever holder, I don't exactly know what he's going to do with Braun Strowman being the champ. I don't know if this will happen, if it's even legally possible, because I do not have a Money in the Bank contract. I don't know what it says, but maybe Otis could give the Money in the Bank contract to Mandy, because he wants his Peach to be champion more than he wants to be champion.
That's not possible.
How do you know it's not possible? These are unprecedented times, Phillip.
I mean, I've been Bulletcast in the Bank multiple times. It's the same contract as a WWE Money in the Bank contract, and it's for a male championship. I know these are unprecedented times, and it's 2020, and anything can happen. But we have to have some rules, And I'm gonna get hot on this brand to brand invitational stuff. I'm gonna get hot about it. I really am. But yeah, moving on from all that, Intercontinental
Tell me you wouldn't do anything for that Peach?
Okay, we're not going to go there. Intercontinental Championship Tournament, Elias defeats King Corbin. It is a damn shame. Okay? King Corbin should advance and become the Intercontinental Champion, bring some prestige to that hideous incarnation of one of the most prestigious championships in the history of professional wrestling.
Well, this Elias King Corbin match, we've all been waiting for it. The feud that just keeps on going. And to be honest, I think they actually did a decent job, probably better than I would have thought, especially with the time that they gave them. Elias getting the win. I mean, it's fine. Maybe it's just more kind of a structure of how the bracket plays out. But with King Corbin going up against the WWE Champion in a couple days, you would think that you would want to build him up a little bit more than that.
Absolutely. Oh, excuse me. Oh my God. The NXT Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. I love seeing Charlotte all the time. I don't need to see her on SmackDown. She's assigned to Raw, so it's okay for her to be there. Plus, she's the NXT Champion. It's okay for her to be there. I don't need to see her on SmackDown. I don't need to see people just going to different brands. What happened to the brand split, ladies and gentlemen? Look. Here's my thing. If this is just for the uncertain times that we're living in, that's okay. I'll allow it. I'll allow it here, okay? But once we get fans back in arenas and stuff like that, we got to cut this off. No brand-to-brand invitationals. Nothing of the sort. Look, AJ Styles is in this Intercontinental Championship tournament. If he wins the Intercontinental title, he has to be moved to SmackDown. He can't be on both shows. I'm sorry. It's just the way it has to be. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I don't really understand the whole brand-to-brand invitational thing. They don't really explain it. I mean, they kind of said, like, you're only allowed a certain number and someone can only bounce back and forth a certain number of times. But, I mean, I think at this point, if you're just going to do this, I would just say just make it a free-for-all and just, like, have no rules to it and just be like, okay, you know, no brand split for the foreseeable future or whatever, and you can do whatever the hell you want. But because when you have, like, these convoluted rules and stuff, it's kind of hard to make sense of all this, and they make it seem like it's this wacky, wavy, inflatable arm flailing two-man idea. But it's
wild card. Oh, the wild card! You had to love it. Intercontinental Championship Tournament. Daniel Bryan defeats Drew Gulak, and now Gulak's no longer with the company. Oh, what do you know? Thoughts on that, Brandon?
Very good match between these two, very similar to the Thatcher Riddle match that took place last week on NXT. But Gulak, you know, doing the job on the way out. They were in discussions for a re-up of his contract, but I guess he wanted more money, and with WWE just firing everybody in sight, I don't think they really want to pay anybody more money. So I understand it. It is kind of a shame because Drew Gulak was doing a lot of good work with Daniel Bryan. And, I mean, he can always maybe come back once this whole thing blows over. I don't think there's any bad blood between them, but if Gulak does go somewhere else, whether it be AEW or some other promotion, I think this latter run, this last push on his, in the last couple months has really helped him build a name for himself.
Absolutely, you know, I've come fond of Mr. Gulak. And I forget what pay-per-view it was where he was wrestling Daniel Bryan, but they were going balls to the wall. They were throwing it all out there. It looked vicious. It looked hard hitting. It had that strong style, and I really did. I did like that. I like that a lot. All right, Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler cut a backstage promo. Brandon, tell us about it.
Well, I keep saying Sonya Deville, very underrated. Now everybody is coming around on Sonya Deville. Her and Ziggler looking like they're together. Not like that. Business partners. And they're just doing some really good work. Sonya Deville cutting fire promos, and I think she is doing a lot for her stock right now. Yes, Bayley might be the heel champion, but Sonya, maybe Mandy gets Money in the Bank from Otis, she wins, and then Sonya faces her later on down the line. I'm just booking the damn territory.
Yes, I mean, we haven't booked the damn territory on the show in a very long time, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that'll be it for SmackDown. We don't really have anything outside of the ring. Undertaker Last Ride Part 2. So now the Undertaker has seen his match against Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 33. He's unpleased with it. He doesn't want that to be the last image that we see of him. And so he has meetings with Vince, to talk about, wrestling Cena at WrestleMania 34. And so, Taker's getting ready. He has WWE brings him a ring at this warehouse in Austin. He does cryotherapy. He does all these things. He has a hip replacement, and the technology behind that is actually really fascinating. that little spinner that they put in there, lock it on, and he could already feel the difference. When he walked and you see him train, and he looked pretty good. They had a Primo Cologne train with him, and that was nice. And as Taker's backstage of the Royal Rumble watching the matches, he's watching AJ. He's like, I want to work with this guy. He reminds me of Sean. So a little foreshadowing there. What'd you think of part 2 of the last ride?
Very interesting. Once again, I thought the Roman Reigns match, yes, it was kind of sloppy, but compared to a lot of the other matches The Undertaker has had, especially the longer form matches, they haven't really gotten that much better. But, we've seen kind of stuff like this with Undertaker, Edge, the training montage is very interesting to kind of get that insight, especially from The Undertaker, that literally never does this. So, it's always good to get insight on that.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. I don't really have anything inside of the ring, so let's just go to this day in wrestling. WCW Slamboree 1995, The Giant, a.k.a. Big Show, makes his WCW debut. Judgment Day 2000, Rock, Hunter, was it the last match? No, it was an Iron Man match. 20 years ago today. Raw 2001, the two-man power trip, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H versus Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. And Brandon, what's so special about this match?
I don't know. Is this when Triple H tears his quad or something?
Tears his quad in San Jose, right here in the Bay Area, man.
So much history.
Tears his quad, comes back months later. The U2 montage is playing, all that other stuff. In Aurora's Garden, my buddy Sam Roberts was in attendance, and he can attest, one of the loudest pops he's ever been in attendance for. And then, Hunter has that match with Jericho at WrestleMania 18 where the life sucked out of them because they just watched Hogan and Rock. Amazing stuff. Judgment Day 2006, Rey Mysterio retains the Big Gold World title against JBL. 2016, on this day, Cody Rhodes is released from WWE. 4 years later, look where we are now. 1 year into AEW, Cody EVP. This Saturday, he could become the first ever TNT champion. Presented by Iron Mike Tyson. Well, what are your thoughts on the post-WWE career of the American Nightmare?
When Cody first got released and he put out that list of everybody he wanted to wrestle, I thought, oh, that's cool. Cody, he's fine. He's a decent wrestler. I like the stuff he did with Dustin and Dusty against the Shield and everything like that. But I just never really thought he was going to be that big of a deal on the indie scene, just because I didn't really think he was going to be that big of a personality and that really great of a wrestler. But obviously I was wrong, Phillip. I know you're a big Cody fan, and you've been kind of singing his praises since day one of this podcast, and I think he's definitely proven it. Yes, he might not be the best wrestler in the world, but he has shown that he can tell a great story and get the crowd invested. And if Cody never got released from WWE, who knows if AEW would even be a thing.
Yeah, that's really true. People do see him at the forefront of a lot of these things, like All In and AEW. I can attest to it. Met Cody Rhodes multiple times. One of the nicest human beings I've ever met. Cody, it's been a hell of a run. Let's keep it going. Win that title. Spoiler alert, he's my pick for that match. Backlash 2017, the modern day Maharaja becomes the WWE champion. People were shocked. I was shocked. Hey, I supported Jinder all throughout the title run. I wasn't one of these people bashing him. Jinder, go for it again. If you can beat Drew, do it. I'm all for it. I want the modern day Maharaja to have a second run with the most prestigious title in the game, the WWE Championship. Alright, there was a Raw on this day in 2018. Braun Strowman defeats Finn Balor. Nothing special there. We got some birthdays. Leva Bates, one of the librarians, is 36. Kota Ibushi, one of Japanese top stars, is 35. And the Rabid Wolverine, Chris Benoit, would have been 52 years old.
Who?
Pegasus Kid. Wild Pegasus.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what else happened on this day?
You see clearly?
No. I interviewed Chris Masters. 2016. How could I forget? My first ever wrestling interview. I watched it back this morning, and it was absolutely terrible.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere, kids. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna hit the fan mail here. Robert Walker. Oh, this is an interesting one. So, this is a which would you rather do? Are you ready?
Of course.
Have a beer with Stone Cold, road trip with Roman Reigns, have breakfast with Charlotte Flair, star in a movie with The Rock, go swimming with Mandy Rose, play PS4 with Seth Rollins, work out with John Cena, free WWE merch for life, or go surfing with Shinsuke Nakamura. Brandon, I think I know what you're choosing.
You might think you know what I'm going to choose. You would think I would drink a beer with Stone Cold. But that would be a lot of fun. But you know what's even more fun? Making a boatload of money starring in a movie with The Rock. It's not even a question. I'm starring in a movie with The Rock because I'm gonna be the Kevin Hart. I'm gonna ride his coattails. I want to make a few $1 million, millions of dollars,
millions of dollars. Damn, that is the smart financial choice. It really is. You know what? I think I might go with. I think I'll have breakfast with Charlotte Flair. Yeah, turn it into an interview setting. Be great for the show. Boost up the numbers. Yeah, I think I'll go that route. Doing it for the love of the podcast, man.
I'm selfish. I'm just making the money.
All right, Jack of all trades. I'm really excited. What do you think will be the match of the night for Double or Nothing? We'll talk about that once we get to those predictions. Alfie Lewis. Seth trying to recruit a nice little team. Let's see if they can stretch this all the way to Survivor Series. Seth's team versus someone else's. I think that'd be interesting. The Monday Night Messiah and his minions versus God knows who. I think that'd be interesting. Hootie Who 420.
Hootie Who.
Mates, I'm sorry, but Matt Hardy biting toes is absolutely hilarious and disgusting. Damascus, the best incarnation of Matt Hardy. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out In the Click. They had Matt Hardy on there, regular Matt Hardy, and then all of a sudden, Broken Matt comes out, and it was like 15 seconds, but it was hilarious. Go check that out. Support my boys Bimbo Jimbo and Baby Huey. All right, Nigerian Prince. R.I.P. to Shad Gaspard. The last thing he did on Earth was save his son. Rest easy, King, and go get that money in heaven. Yeah. Wow, that was very nice. All right. Also, we have to go to the Instagram, the gram of Instas. You already know who sent it in.
Mr. X.
It's the homie and Brightest Day X, graphic designer. Gotta start by sending thoughts and so many prayers to Shad Gaspard's family. This was so heartbreaking to hear. He may be gone, but he went out a hero. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh, wait. I may have misspoken on Kota Ibushi's birthday. He's not what did I say, 35? He's actually 38. Jesus, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Kota Ibushi just turned 38. That's 1 year older than me. I see the way he looks, and then I see a picture of myself, and I make myself sad. Sometimes life just isn't fair. It's okay, man. Some people. Look at Scott Hall. He was out of shape and did all the craziness of the lifestyle he lived, and he hopped on that DDP yoga. Now he's in the best shape of his life, brother. Maybe that's the answer. Hop on that DDP yoga. Give yourself a self-half. All right. As the ship sailed on Dalton Castle, I forgot he even existed. This guy has so much potential, but the things just haven't really panned out for him. Not even the Ring of Honor World title run really seemed to help. Could a move to AEW help revitalize him? Brandon?
Dalton Castle was someone who I was pretty high on a few years back. I thought he had a great gimmick, obviously kind of hinting at a gay persona, but not really going full-fledged with it. But I thought that he was really good in-ring wise and character wise, but just the injuries have just caught up, and they've just kind of piled on top of each other. And from what I've heard, he might not ever be the same again. I mean, it's a back injury, so obviously you can draw comparisons to Shawn Michaels, where it could ruin his career. Maybe some couple years of rest and a surgery that he can be back and better than ever. But I mean, it's just kind of sad because he is on the younger side. I don't exactly know how old he is, but I mean, I think I mean, if everything was equal and he was healthy, I think he could be maybe not something like super special. He is 34, so he's kind of on the older side, but that's kind of the sweet spot of wrestling. So I mean, at that stage of your life, it's kind of hard to come back from injuries. So I think, unfortunately, he's not going to be any bigger than I think he is right now.
Absolutely. All right, I have to take a call. Brandon, tell us what's going on with Austin Theory joining Seth Rollins.
Well, as the Bulletcast hotline rings and Phillip has to take that phone call, we're going to get right into the Raw recap. So, we got Austin Theory joining the Monday Night Messiah, where they hinted at a little bit last week that Austin Theory might not have been on the right side of Zelina Vega and her boys. Shout out Dalton Castle with the boys. But they get into a match. I am completely blanking on the match. It was a tag team match. You guys know exactly what it was. And Austin Theory messed up, hitting Angel Garza. Angel Garza gets pinned, and then they beat him down. And then at the end, Seth Rollins is with his buddy Murphy, and Austin Theory comes out and beats up somebody. See, it would be very helpful if I actually had, I have the script in front of me, but I don't have like a full-on rundown of what actually happened. And this was on Monday. I mean, Monday was such a long time ago. And you're going to expect me to remember what happened all the way back on Monday. I used to play baseball. I used to play football. I've taken a lot of hits to the head. So I can't exactly remember things the way I used to. Aleister Black was taking on Seth Rollins' buddy Murphy. There we go. And then they fight, and then Austin Theory comes out, beats down Aleister Black, so maybe possibly Aleister Black taking on Seth Rollins. That would be a fun feud. I mean, yes, please. But, as one of the emailers said, Seth Rollins building up a little bit of a stable. Got his buddy Murphy. He's got, I'm blanking on his name again, Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory, he is very young. I think he's like 21 or 20. He still has a long way to go. He still hasn't really clicked. I thought when he got kicked out of the club of Zelina's boys that maybe he was going to turn babyface, but no, he's going right back on the heel side, which I think is the right fit for him right now because it is kind of hard. I mean, Seth Rollins kind of had the same issue where he turned babyface getting shunned by the authority. It's kind of hard to turn babyface when you get rejected by the heels. You'd be like, oh, they don't love me, so will you guys love me, fans? Because nobody else does.
I've had a lot of instances of people rejecting me and not loving me. I get where Austin Theory is coming from. Look, I can vouch for the Messiah, okay? Seth Rollins, he's a good worker. He knows exactly what he's doing. Follow that man's path. He's on a path of realization. You want to be successful, you listen to Seth Rollins. Buddy Murphy, he got a tag team championship out of it. Austin Theory, something's in your future, my guy. I feel it. I see it. To hell with Andrade Angel Garza. I'm not going to say that to Zelina Vega. Love her to death. But to hell with those two gentlemen for getting rid of Austin Theory, one of the fastest rising stars in professional wrestling. Sorry, MJF. I think Austin Theory has you beat. Moving on. Edge versus Randy Orton is confirmed for Backlash. It's going to be a pure wrestling match, and this has been dubbed as the greatest wrestling match of all time.
Yeah, I don't exactly know why they keep pushing that as the greatest wrestling match of all time, because we all know it's not. Could it be really good? Maybe. Will it be decent? More than likely. So, I don't understand, what's the whole point of this, because I think anybody who, ranks matches and understands what the greatest wrestling match is or could be, they know this isn't going to beat, especially in a crowdless environment. So, I mean, at the end of the year when we do these whole match rankings and what the best match is, I would assume we're still not going to be having fans in attendance by this point, if so, very little. I would say that, the slim pickings of the best match are going to be in the first 2 or 3 months when there were still fans, and I don't think we're going to talk about Edge and Orton at the year-end awards.
Yeah, I mean, OMG moment of the year, I would say Edge is going to win that for the return at the Rumble, because that pop was mage. Yeah, man, it's not going to be the best wrestling match of all time. I mean, Edge and Orton, they've had good matches to great matches, absolutely. These are two guys who are in my top 10 of all time, but it's not going to happen.
But not your fave five.
They're not in the top 5, no. No, they're not. But yeah, I mean, I've preached it to death what I think the greatest wrestling match is of all time. Brandon, I don't think I've ever heard you say what you think the greatest wrestling match of all time is.
Well, when you say the greatest wrestling match of all time, it's very hard to determine. So what I don't say the greatest wrestling match of all time. What I say is the greatest match I've ever seen. And I would have to go with Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, the first one.
Oh my god. Why are you spreading that propaganda? Jesus. God. Wow.
And I'll say the best tag team match I ever saw was earlier this year with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page against the Young Bucks. So I'm just telling you right now, that's going to be the best match of the year, and I don't think anything's touching that, especially if there's no crowds.
I can't lie. That was one of the best tag matches I've ever seen to date. That was very, very good. A lot of the best tag matches I've seen recently have involved the Young Bucks. All right. Moving on, Charlotte Flair goes on to defeat Ruby Riott. Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for.
Once again, I feel like Ruby Riott, very underrated. I feel as though she could be used so much better than what she actually is. I know she's no Liv Morgan, so Liv Morgan's going to get the push, but I just feel like Ruby Riott is, a really good wrestler. She has, a distinct look and a distinct personality that she could use, especially with Becky Lynch out. You need some more people on that roster, and you're not going to just call up everybody. So I feel as though Ruby Riott's getting the raw end of the stick here.
Oh, raw end of the stick.
I don't even think that's a real saying. I just combined two sayings and made it my own.
Because she's on Monday Night Raw. Ha 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 ha. All right, what's happened on Raw? Lashley defeats R-Truth. Just another squash, basically. Another squash. The Women's Tag Team Championships, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross successfully retained against the Iconics. I think it was a disqualification or a count-out victory, one of the two. But, Bliss Cross still have the tag team titles. And the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre, he successfully defeats Baron Corbin in the Brand-to-Brand Invitational.
Yeah, the match was fine. McIntyre once again getting another strong win, cementing his dominance. And Lashley and MVP seemingly a couple now. And Lashley will be the next challenger for Drew McIntyre. Still haven't seen the modern day Maharaja in a few weeks since he cut that promo. So don't, maybe just planting the seed for Jinder right now and then building up a little bit while McIntyre's taking on Lashley. Then maybe Jinder will be the next person.
Yes, Jinder, he's waiting in the wings, I honest to God, dude, like, if Lashley wins, I won't be mad. I really won't. It's about damn time if he finally gets it. This is also a rematch from Slammiversary 2016, might I add.
Who can't forget that?
Nobody who can't. Greatest wrestling match of all time.
Exactly. That's what Orton and Edge are going up against.
Exactly, dude, Hell, this as I look at this Dolph Ziggler plaque I obtained from my good homie Brandon, shout out to you, buddy. This cash-in, this match between Del Rio and Ziggler, that's probably the greatest wrestling match of all time.
It's not even the greatest cash-in of all time.
Okay. Oh, hold on now. Hold on. Just because and I'm looking at my Seth Rollins Money in the Bank plaque, Like, okay, let's calm down. Let's calm down there. I mean, I know what the greatest cash-in is going to be whenever you cash in your Bullet Cash in the Bank, right?
Exactly. When I cash in on, I don't even know whatever shows are going on right now, because all we do is AEW and WWE, and I can't cash in on some right. Maybe I'll do an Impact one. I need to start watching Impact now.
Oh man, I was looking at Fight. I think AAA. I think they're going to be running some shows, so you might want to cash in, brother. Yep. All right, AEW Dynamite. Here we go. Jon Moxley defeats 10, formerly known as Preston Cody Vance. He hits him with a paradigm shift. He hits him with a Gotch-style pile driver, and then he hits him with an elevated paradigm shift. Hops on the mic. He's talking to Brody Lee. Brody Lee's backstage with his minions because Brody Lee did abduct the AEW World Championship. Thoughts on this? I finally got to watch AEW live for the first time in God knows how long.
Good job, Phillip. Good match. Moxley beat 10, and the reason he beat 10 is because he's a dumb little half-rupper. We all know that, right, Phillip?
Of course. Absolutely.
Of course. If you don't know, I yelled at him and then he yelled back at me. But anyways.
He's vanilla.
Very vanilla.
Yes.
With a touch of caramel, because, you gotta get your tan on.
Absolutely, brother.
Match itself was fine. Moxley breaking his arm, good. I mean, the match, or not the match, but the segment and the build between Moxley and Brody Lee have been fine, I guess. I think they're just kind of like trying to make this like a super intense feud very quickly, and it's just not clicking, in my opinion. Hopefully the match can be really good. Don't exactly know, because I've seen Brody Lee a little bit, but I haven't seen him like, in that big one-on-one match where the spotlight's on him, so hopefully he can deliver. But
well, here's the thing. People have been like, why is he getting a championship opportunity all of a sudden? I was on the AEW conference call with Cody Rhodes earlier today. It's on the Bulletcast feed for the audio version. Go check that out. It's being uploaded to YouTube as we speak. And one of the guys asked, well, what's going on? Why is he in this spot so soon? And Cody's reply was, during this crazy time, he stepped up and he has a presence in the locker room, and he's helping out younger talent and leading them, and then his character has really just shined on TV, I guess you could say, in a way. What he's done, and it has people talking, and they thought, why not have a somewhat mountain of a man go up against the guy that's ready to fight everybody?
Yeah, I understand why he is the number one contender and fighting for the title. I think just the thing is, AEW has those rankings, and when you announce and quote-unquote pride yourself on being a sports-like promotion, when someone just comes in, has a few squash matches, in theory, that shouldn't make him the challenger to the title. Yes, I mean, even in MMA and UFC, people get pushed to the top really quickly. I mean, look at Brock Lesnar. He has like 2 matches, and then he's already in the main event fighting for the heavyweight title. But he's Brock Lesnar. You can say Brody Lee isn't exactly the same caliber of star that Brock Lesnar is, but in their own little universe, you can tell that story.
Yes. I mean, it's very interesting. I can't wait to see. All right, Maxwell Jacob Friedman defeats Marco Stunt with the salt of the earth, that Fujiwara armbar. Beautiful. Good match with MJF being an undersized heel, putting him against Marco Stunt where MJF can tower over him a little bit. I think it's a good little dynamic for them. Marco gets a little bit of a hope spot in, but in the end MJF wins, as he should, and then they build up a little heat between him and Jungle Boy as the Jurassic Express come out and shout out Wardlow, who he almost ate it, almost fell off the ring apron when he was getting on the stage, but he didn't. He saved himself, and he corpsed a little bit. So send for the man. Hey, it's okay, man. He's rocking those designer Stacy Adams. They're a little slippery on the bottom. I get it. I understand. I got a pair in the closet right now. I understand. Don't be making fun of my boy Wardlow. All right. Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, a member of the Horsemen, comes out there and he has a promo with Jake the Snake Roberts. 2 legends, 2 Hall of Famers, bouting for the men that they're representing in this big match for the inaugural TNT Championship. Brandon, what were your thoughts?
I thought this was a really good segment. 2 of the best talkers from the 80s and the 90s, and with Cody and Archer not being there, kind of just letting what they did last week sit there, have the coaches be the mouthpieces for him. I thought it was a good, different segment. Social spacing, 6 feet apart with the long ass table. I thought it was good. Kind of an awkward ending with the 2 old men trying to get into a fight when they're not going to fight. But overall, I thought it was good. Out of the Cody matches, obviously it's not been as hot as the other ones he's had, but with this environment I think it is really difficult to get like a super hot feud going.
Hey dude, I'm not gonna lie, if Jake would have dropped Arn with a DDT, I would have popped.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Maybe on Saturday. Maybe on Saturday.
Maybe.
Never know. Or he drops Brandy with one. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. There we go.
I do kind of enjoy Jake Roberts being the creepy old man.
Oh my god. Alright, Rey Fenix, after he just came out of nowhere and kicked Orange Cassidy in the head, they have the match on Dynamite and Phoenix is successful. And then basically everybody that's in that casino ladder match is coming out there. Rey Fenix floating in the air for a nice second before diving on everybody. Colt Cabana hitting a picture-perfect springboard moonsault on everybody. Goodish, pal.
Really good match. It really shows what Orange Cassidy can do when he's not doing the sloth gimmick. The finish I thought was kind of stupid with Kip Sabian just sitting there on the ladder and Orange Cassidy just staring at him. I mean, I thought that was kind of contrived, but in the end, good action. Hopefully Rey Fenix is okay, because you said he dove onto everybody. He did really. He dove onto the floor.
Oh yeah, he took that hard bump. I was like, ooh. But I hope he's okay. I hope he's good to go. Yep. Alright, Nyla Rose, the AEW Women's Champion, Britt Baker, DMD, go up and defeat Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. Dude, I was half awake for this, and it didn't look all that good. I assume you were fully awake, and how was this?
It was not that good. Unfortunately, there was a spot where Nyla Rose got, thrown into Britt Baker, and Britt Baker kind of came up hobbling, holding her knee in her ankle or shin, whatever. So hopefully everything turns out well. She isn't too injured. She does have a match against Chris Statlander scheduled. Still haven't heard any definitive news on what Britt's injury status is. I mean, I'm hoping it's just kind of like a sprain. I don't think that would be an injury where she tore anything, but at this point, if she's really hurt, I don't think we're dying to see Britt Baker take on Chris Statlander, so I just think you hold off on that match.
I mean, I think Britt will be okay. I hear she has a lot of access to Novocaine.
You don't just pill up Phillip to go through the pain. That's how we get all these headaches.
I said that because she's a dentist.
Yeah, and I took it a dark route about pill addictions.
Well, one of my new favorite segments, ladies and gentlemen, Sean New Spears, SSN. You gotta love to see it. One of Canada's best, Sean Spears, discusses the Rhodes family and just talks crap about Dustin. It looks like we're gonna be getting Dustin and Sean this Saturday.
Yeah, interesting little segment there. It was kind of corny and kind of awkward, but he's a heel. It's supposed to be kind of stupid. He called out the entire Rhodes family pretty much, so I don't know if this means that he'll face Cody. I mean, still kind of going up. I mean, maybe he's just going to be the guy who just keeps chirping at Cody, and no matter how much he tries, he just always loses.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Alright, the main event, Sammy Guevara. He loses to Damascus. Broken Matt Hardy. 3 Twist of Fates.
They've been protecting Matt Hardy pretty well. Yes, he lost the tag match with Kenny, but with his other matches, he's looked strong, beating Sammy Guevara, who is kind of, unfortunately, the designated jobber for Inner Circle at this time. Also won with Kenny against Santana and Ortiz. So, I mean, building up Hardy, protecting him, which I think is a good idea. And then it leads to the Mega Brawl afterwards.
Yes, the return of Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page. He does cowboy-ish. So, the other half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions is back, and it's going to be a good one, man. It's going to be a good one in that Stadium Stampede. I guess that just brings us to previewing the card, huh, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good brawl at the end. Kenny looking kind of weak, just being kind of on the lower of all the other elite guys. I kind of wish, since the Bucks and Hangman haven't been there in months, that maybe this segment could have taken place in the middle of the show, and then you go back to it and they cut a promo, because we haven't seen any of these guys, and they just kind of show up, and then we're just going to go straight into the pay-per-view on Saturday. And Phillip, you're pulling to me with your mic muted.
Oh, yep, I did. I'm sorry, but
that's my gimmick.
I'm sorry, stealing gimmicks out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Double or Nothing 2. I wish this was in Las Vegas. I wish, because I was going to be there. Brandon was going to be there too. We're going to party it up, man. Party it up. All right, well, here we go. The buy-in. This is for the number one contendership for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Private Party. You know it's not water in those cups. Going up against the Best Friends. I think Best Friends are going with it, man.
This one is kind of interesting because we haven't seen Private Party. They've been on that West Coast being the Elite crew. They haven't been on the primary show in months. I'll give it to Private Party. To be different, but also Best Friends have been getting some wins lately. So in I don't know if Private Party is going to stick around, if this is just kind of a one-off where a lot of the West Coast guys are going to come in and then they just leave and not be on the show again. So I'm going to go with Private Party just to give them a little bit of boost because I feel as though they haven't been doing a whole lot even before COVID started.
That's true. Yeah, so Brandon, myself, and Jay from the Rudos podcast, we're all vying for the Bulletcast Championship. All right, Britt Baker, DMD versus Chris Statlander. I'm going to give it to Baker.
I'm going to give it to Baker as well. If this match does happen, I think, obviously, they've been putting a lot into Britt. Statlander, she's okay, but I think, obviously, Britt is the one to get the job done here.
Absolutely. All right, the Perfect 10, the chairman of AEW, Shawn Spears, is going up against the Natural, Dustin Rhodes. I got Dustin. Hello, Brandon?
I'm thinking.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
My mic was not muted. I was just in a cold, dark stare trying to think, which, when I try to think, not a lot of stuff really comes up. But I will go with Dustin as well. I kind of want to go with Spears just because it's like, okay, maybe if he wins and Cody wins, that can be a title feud later on down the line. But I just think Spears is kind of at a certain level. I think Dustin can be at another level. And I'm going to go with Dustin. Once again, not really having any reasoning behind it, just a feeling.
All right, the AEW Women's Championship is on the line. Nyla Rose is defending against Hikaru Shida. I don't see a reason why Nyla Rose loses it, so I'm picking her.
Yeah, I'll go with Nyla as well. With Britt kind of on the come up, you could see maybe Shida wins it just to get the title onto Britt. But I just feel like maybe have Nyla hold it for a little bit. Maybe Nyla eventually turns babyface and then feuds against Britt. I don't think that's going to happen. And they desperately need some new talent because I just think everybody is kind of at a certain level and it's going to be hard for any of them to really, get up to that next level in the women's division.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. The Casino Ladder Match winner becomes number one contender for the AEW World Title, or they get a future shot, whichever's happening. Darby Allin, Colt Cabana, Orange Cassidy, Rey Fenix, Scorpio Sky, Superbad, Kip Sabian, Frankie Kazarian, Luchasaurus, and a mystery opponent. Brandon, who's it gonna be?
I don't know who it might be. I don't think it's going to be any of the recent WWE releases because obviously they still have that 90-day no-compete. So don't get your hopes up for any of the. Don't get your hopes up for No Way Jose making the run-in. I'm sorry, but it's probably not going to happen. But
it's going to be Drew Gulak. His contract expired and he wasn't released. It's going to be him.
Okay.
No,
that's what you said.
I'm joking. I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be, but my pick to win this. They've been making a big deal about him with all these promos. I'm going to go Scorpio Sky.
Alright, I thought you were going to go with my pick, and my pick will be Darby Allin. For similar reasons, they've been doing a lot of promos with him. Really the only person they pushed compared to, obviously they kind of had everybody come out for the Phoenix and Cassidy match, but I'm going to go with Darby. I think if Moxley still is the champion, you can have Darby and Moxley go back at it. They had a little thing a couple months ago, so I'm going to go with Darby for kind of a one-off match on Dynamite.
Yeah. All right. MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Jungle Boy. I think Jungle Boy wins. We haven't seen him in a while. It'll be a nice big win for him, especially on pay-per-view.
I will go with MJF on this one. They made a big deal that he's only lost one match, and that match was in a Fatal 4-Way. So technically he hasn't been pinned or submitted yet. I think you want to keep that going for a long time until maybe he faces someone for a championship and you can have him lose at that point. So I just think right now, protect MJF. Jungle Boy can get a lot of hope spots in. It probably could be a really good match. I think this could be a sleeper for maybe not best match, but I think it's gonna maybe surprise some people. But I'm still gonna go with MJF.
All right. Next up, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, versus the Murder Hawk Lance Archer for the inaugural TNT Championship. The title will be presented by Iron Mike Tyson. I never bet against him. I'm going with Cody Rhodes, first ever TNT champion.
This is the only title that Cody can go after, singles-wise. But I will go with Lance Archer. I think you keep him strong. You have him win with Jon Moxley being the babyface champion on one side, have the heel champion on the other side. Maybe we get some sort of angle with Lance Archer going face-to-face with Mike Tyson. Don't think Iron Mike's going to have a match in AEW, but I think that's just something to kind of look out for. Maybe he loses and he still has a face-off with Mike Tyson, but I'm going to go with Lance Archer, and Cody just continues to not be able to get the big one done, and maybe this could lead him into a heel turn.
Oh, Cody's so lovable. How could you hate him? You can't. You just can't. All right, the Elite versus the Inner Circle Stadium Stampede match. They're all back together. I'll go the Elite.
I'll go the Elite as well, especially since the Young Bucks and Hangman Page haven't been there. I mean, the Inner Circle, you could say, maybe needs this win more just because they have been losing a bit, but they did get that win in the tag team match. So I'm going to go with the Elite. Obviously, we don't exactly know what this means. It's just going to be kind of a wild... I would assume this might be like a wild pre-taped brawl at the stadium, just because I think it's going to be hard to film all this stuff in a stadium in 10-15 minutes, because it's going to take 2-3 minutes just to walk up the staircase or whatever. So I mean, I'm intrigued to see what they do, especially with Matt Hardy involved in this. Maybe we get a little touch of Elite deletion, but I think the Elite will get the job done.
Absolutely. Oh wow, I got a question from Baby Huey.
Well, is it for the podcast or is it for you, Philip?
It's a podcast related. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley defends against the Exalted One, Brody Lee. I got Moxley, man.
I got Moxley as well. No real reason to give Brody Lee the championship. Yes, he might be the top heel in the company. I just think Moxley's doing some good stuff right now. Just keep him on the right path. Let him win.
Absolutely. All right, let's do a recap here. Let's see. So, for the buy-in, you have Private Party, I have Best Friends, and on the main card, we both have Britt Baker, we both have Dustin Rhodes, we both have Nyla Rose. Ladder match, I have Scorpio Sky, you have Darby Allin. I have Jungle Boy, you have MJF, I have Cody Rhodes, you have Lance Archer, we both have the Elite, and we both have Jon Moxley. On the main card, they have 8 matches. WWE, take notes. Okay? Yeah. Superstar Spotlight, who do we got? I'll wait till we do the recap Saturday night of Double or Nothing 2. That's when I'll really feel it. Brandon, do you have a promo pick for us this week?
Well, maybe I might have forgot, and, I was trying to scramble around because I kind of forgot about it, but, since history was made on this day, why don't you guys, homework, go back and watch a promo. I don't know if this is homework or just detention, but go and watch a promo from Jinder Mahal after he wins the WWE Championship, because, it must have been straight fire.
It was, the modern day Maharaja. Love it. All right, close match pick of the week. WrestleMania 10, March 20th, 1994. Brett versus Owen. Owen gets the big win over his big brother, but he was left out in the dark because later on that night, Bret Hart would be going to defeat Yokozuna to become the WWE Champion. Owen looking on aimlessly, just angry, pissed off. That Bret outshined him again. Great stuff, man. Really go watch it back. It does hold up till this day. Brandon?
Fantastic match. Probably the best match at that WrestleMania, and even Jim Ross talked about it on the Dark Side of the Ring episode. Just two hearts going at it at the Garden. on WrestleMania, the biggest show in wrestling at that time. Big deal for Canadians and the Hart family. I mean, fantastic match. If you haven't seen it, definitely go and watch it. I mean, technical classic. Definitely still holds up today. Great story between brother versus brother. You know, a lot of comparisons could be made to this match and Cody and Dustin. Which one was better? You decide.
Absolutely. Or Matt and Nick. How could we forget?
Fire.
Them, Matt and Jeff, absolutely. Alright, follow us on Twitter at Bulletcast, Instagram, The Bulletcast, YouTube channel, The Bulletcast, email us, Bulletcast2 is in the number 2, sweet SWEET at gmail.com. I think it's every Friday night from now on, in Watsonville, 99.9 FM K-Dub in Watsonville, sorry. Tongue twisted. iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Spotify, Patreon, all over the damn place. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night I'm being interviewed on a podcast. You know, I'll reveal those details once the interview actually happens. Hopefully it does. And Monday, I'm supposed to be doing an interview with someone. Hopefully this actually happens. Don't want to say anything in case plans fall through. But Saturday night, Brandon and myself will be doing a recap of Double or Nothing. Do I walk out the Bulletcast champion still? Does Brandon become a 9-time champ? Or does Jay from the Rudos podcast, does he win it for the first time? We don't know. You're going to have to tune in to find out. Thank you guys so much. And as always, stay clean, stay safe, stay strong, and stay quarantined.
When your face is in the dirt, you'll know your death is what I seek. We are the elite, and you are the
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.